Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Business Monday. It is where that you can get some business advice to help you to build your business. Today, I'm talking to a specialist, someone that who is an expert about business building, because a lot of us want to open our own business, but do you really understand what a business needs? Have you even looked into all the different layer of becoming a business owner? Not even talking about entrepreneur, we're talking about being a business owner. So today I have Sarah over here. She is a business strategist and also a commercial financial specialist. Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for coming onto our show today.
Thanks for having me, Martha. I'm pleased to be here.
Please tell us a little bit more about you.
About me, well, I have a background in business that goes across 2 decades now, starting my finance brokerage in 2003. And what a journey it has been, and the things that I've learned along the years that have led me to here. And I divested some of that business in 2019 after starting my business advisory consultancy. And now I do majority of my work in the business advisory, strategy, accountability coaching space. And I still do a little bit of commercial lending, self-managed super fund, asset and equipment finance as well.
That is amazing. You do amazing work. Like we all understand as a business owner, a lot of us find it very troubling into working out what do we need to set up a business. Like before our call, I was talking to a member in our group. She said that, oh, I have invested A, B, C, D, E into my business. It have been 3.5 years now, but I don't see any improvement and things like that. So I'm a bit hesitant into investing more onto it. So if you can explain it to us, what is a business foundation?
So a lot of people get this great idea and they run with the idea before they look at what is required to be successful in business. And so your business foundations, I liken them to the slab of a house. It's the foundations. You don't pour the foundations after you put the walls and the roof on. So
Yeah.
a lot of people build their business, they get their product, they get their name, they start rolling, they get a website, they start selling. And then they realize later that they didn't do the things that they should have done at the start because they didn't know about them. And they were
Yeah.
so excited about and passionate about taking their product or their service to marketplace. Business foundations are things about, knowledge pieces really. And they're quite broad in their range, but we're talking about entity types and structures. We're talking about the research you've done on your target market, your customer niche, understanding your customer journey. We're talking about the systems and processes that you use in your business to prevent inefficiencies. We're talking about the software that you choose and the tech stack that you have that assists you in being successful. We're also talking about, and this is probably the biggest one that most people don't invest any time or money into learning. We're talking about how to quote for profit, how to be profitable. What does that mean? And then how to forecast your money cycles around the seasonal impacts that come from being in business, depending on what your product or your service is. So business foundations are all about building you a structure that will allow you to thrive and be successful and be profitable. Revenue is not profit. A lot of people think, I've got to turn over, it doesn't matter. You could turn over $50,000 as long as it was profitable and still do really well. Or you can turn over $5 million and make just as much money as if you were turning over $50,000 if you don't know the difference.
Oh, that is so true, isn't it? A lot of business owner, they come into that fact, oh, okay, like I'm selling this for $1,000 and then my profit margin is like 30%, for example. Like, is that really a profit or how should we quote for profit?
Are we talking gross profit? Are we talking net profit?
Yeah,
Right?
see, I love it.
They're different things. So gross profit is usually like the actual profit that you make on that product or service, exclusionary to any other expenses that your business has. Net profit is the net, N-E-T-T if you're in Australia, or N-E-T if you're in the States. It's what's left after you've taken out all of your other expenses. And a perfect example is a trade-based business for me. Like a tradie will be like, yep, these are my materials with my markup of 20% profit. This is my labor cost. Therefore, this job is worth A plus B equals C. We've made a 20% profit because I added 20% on at the end. And you go, cool, but what did you allocate as the contribution towards your operational expenses of your business? You know, the expenses that exist whether you get out of bed that day or not, the insurances, the loan repayments on vehicles, the licensing that you have to have, wages if you have staff, all of these different things are operational expenses in most instances, as opposed to relating specifically to the job. And it's very interesting that a lot of people don't have the basic financial literacy, which allows for basic business acumen, which then allows them to be successful in business. And if there's one tip I can give everyone today, is to go back to basics right now and assess your entity types and your structures and learn the financial knowledge that you need to be successful. So that way, you know, if you're giving away your time for free because it works for you, that's fantastic. But if you're giving your time away for free because A, you don't realize you are, and B, you haven't considered charging for it, and C, you have no boundaries around how people treat you, then life's going to be very difficult for you. And the things that you may want to achieve in business and life will take a lot longer to get there.
Oh, I love what you just said there because it is so true. And a lot of business owners, especially when they're new going into the business, they keep having that fear. They may be investing on something. Like I was talking to one person this morning, she was investing on social media following. And I'm like, okay, you pay money to get a coach for social media following, but you haven't got your business back end set up. You don't have a email list that you can grow. You don't have a CRM system that you can actually follow. You don't have a platform for people to come in and see you, but you are already paying people to teach you all the other stuff. Do you see that is a common problem that new business owner has?
It's not just new business owners, like it's people that have been in business for 2 or 3 years, for 5 or 6 years, right? The continual drive to learn something new or try something new because you think it's going to make you money without investing first and foremost in the base things that you need to do. Like you just said, why grow your social media following or platform if you've got no way to convert that into actual sales?
Yeah.
Like it's chicken or egg argument. For someone that's been in business for as long as me, I get a little bit frustrated because I see it as common sense, but it's really not. And that is not a slight on anyone that's starting a business. But I would also say you have to invest the time, the money, and the energy into making sure you've got the solid foundations right from the get-go. Or all those blood, sweat, and tears will not actually generate you a return.
I hear you. I hear you. I think that a lot of us are focusing on different things into making a business. Like I'm going to ask a very controversial business model that people get very, very scared of. Like models such as like MLM and affiliation and referral programs. I heard that there's so many negativity around it. For myself, I see it as a extension of a buyer's journey. It's not like that we get something from Coles, for example, we get a supplement from Coles that is built by Batmore, and we buy it and we walk out the door, that journey is finished. But when we are actually purchasing from someone that has a referral program, that a reward program, your buyer's journey doesn't actually stop there. If you like the product, you share with other people, then you can get rewarded. One of the things that I find is people get very scared because they think that they have to sell to other people to make a business out of it. And I think that there's a lot of confusion in that as well. And I'd love to hear your view about this sort of referral business.
Look, any business ultimately comes down your passion and commitment to its outcomes, right? And your affiliates, your referral partners, as we've called them in our industry for years, and then as a separate side category, your multi-level marketing style businesses. They are all businesses that you can be very successful in, that provide great value to their consumer, that usually support mums and families in a way that they're not able to commit to a part-time or a full-time gig somewhere else, because they give them the flexibility and the freedom to achieve what they need to do. Because being in business is not always about making money alone. It's also about having a lifestyle and having the freedom and having the flexibility and the autonomy to make decisions. I think the difficulty or the backlash we're seeing against these types of businesses is perhaps around the way that they engage the customer journey and the way they communicate the buyer's journey, where people feel pressured and pushed into a sale, or even just to look at the information that they want. They're desperate in some ways because they need this to work for their family, and the desperation comes across. So some of the psychology around sales isn't neatly unpacked, and the training or lack of training that they get from within these structures doesn't necessarily assist them. But there's definitely pros of these types of businesses in our societies. And I think if you are in this type of category of business, what's most important is, like any other business, is understanding what your customer wants and paying attention and working to that. So if most people automatically are going to turn off when they hear that you're in multi-level marketing, perhaps approach the topic differently, in that I've started a new business, I'm selling this product, I'd love to share some information with you, but then also be respectful if they say no.
Yes,
And
definitely.
you can achieve so much in any type of MLM business or affiliate marketing business, depending on what you want to achieve from it. Like, I put myself through uni working as a Larev consultant in aromatherapy and perfume. Like, it's not something that I often talk about, not because I'm ashamed of it or anything. I forget it was part of the journey that I had that led me to here now. And that's how I was able to earn enough money to still be able to study and complete my degree.
Yeah, like I love that like transformation that you can get, because I can see a lot of people having that stigma and that fear around any, like, especially that type of business model. I'm not saying company or anything, because every company has their good things or stuff. Like, you can say that this brand is better than others. Doesn't matter. Everyone have their own choices, but it's more about that person who's going into it. First thing, I feel, this is only my personal opinion, you can't call a scam for having a product, because you buy the product already. Okay, it is in your hand into it. But then if you are going to create as a business, you need to say, like what you just said, the business foundation. What sort of business foundation are they actually providing you? How much knowledge do you actually know about this product? How much of the target market that you need to actually get onto it? And then the next thing will be, what are my profit margin? They will tell you something on it, but it's always lovely and beautiful. But what is, like you said, what is the growth? What is the network profit in it? I find that a lot of people don't put our time into that equation. What is your view on that?
Common problem for a lot of people, that they don't allocate, when they calculate a break even, the unbilled hours, right? When you're calculating the total amount of time that you spend in business, how much of that are you able to charge for, and how much of that is done for free or uncharged? And that is a common issue when you're looking at profit margin. What we were talking about earlier, is it gross or is it net? Because if you're not charging for the billable hours that you do, all of them, then it doesn't work. For example, you may not be able to charge for all the billable hours. Like, it just might not be part of your job. But then if you work out what your hourly rate is, say you're only working 20 hours a week that's chargeable, versus you're actually doing 40 hours a week on the tools, then your hourly rate gets calculated by dividing it by 20, not by 40. Because you're not charging for the extra hours because you can't, for whatever reason.
Oh, that is so good. That's such a good equation for us to actually look at, because a lot of business owners do not have that understanding that you need to actually put yourself in your hour. You need to be paid by what you're doing. Yes, you could be at a stage that you're building your business, but the return on investment must be in the side onto it. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So how do we make better business decisions in our business?
We learn business acumen, right? So we develop the confidence and the knowledge by having the business foundations really well tucked into place in our business knowledge piece. And that way you will make the decisions on autopilot. You'll start to know immediately, is this worth my time or my energy? Should I be billing this client 25% more because they are PITA, pain in the ass? You know, you need to tax this client. You'll start to build up your gut or your intuition around the way you do business. and the outcomes that come as a result of that will completely change your business model. And building that knowledge, though, requires you to invest in the personal development of self, because that's knowledge that once you have, no one can take from you either. You can apply it to any business type that you have moving forward too. And so I suppose it's important to note that this type of learning is really hard to find for an affordable price. And it's one of the reasons that we actually turned on a course within our offerings, was to allow people that might be time poor, strapped for cash, or not in a position to commit to proper coaching. Because that's the other thing we see a lot of the time. People invest thousands and thousands of dollars in coaching that doesn't actually give them any tangible skills at the end of it. And I don't know about you, but being in business for 20 years and being a coach, I wasn't prepared to be a coach that mirrored back to my customer what they were already kind of knew. I wanted a coach that gave me pathways to success. And business coaches usually don't give you those things. That's why I call myself a strategist or an advisor, because a business coach, it's designed by the international standard to be a mirror, to not necessarily be an advisor. And so when you're looking for someone, we know for the assistance, I'll go for a business coach, or I'll go for a social media coach. Coaching is not necessarily the same thing as advisory, and the outcomes that come from that. So know what you're looking for and know what you're getting completely changes your outcomes as well.
Oh, that is so good. What are some of the tips that you can give new business owner that are struggling in their business? They're at a stage that, should I go forward or should I go backward or close up shop? What are some of the tips that you can give them?
Learn what break even is for a start, because if you don't know the word break even right now, the question is, should you be in business? And that may seem really harsh to some people, but it is a factual statement. Break even means, are you making any money or are you losing money? At what point do you break even? Secondly, from that is, where do you want this business to be in 5 years' time? And how do you get there? What are your business goals and what is your action plan? Thirdly, have you done a cash flow forecast? Have you worked out what the market does to your business cash flow, say in December or in March? Do you know if winter affects your product, or does winter provide you with the sales that you need? Having a good solid foundation around those three things will completely change up whether or not you should continue. And whilst it's a little bit controversial for me to say this, because a lot of people don't like it,
I love it.
You need to invest money to be successful in business, whether that is on a system, whether that is on a coach or an advisor, whether that is on a great accountant, whether that is on a web designer. You can't do everything for nothing just on your time. Also, time is money. You might be better off selling your service to somebody else whilst you get somebody to build your back end, right? So know when to outsource, but you have to invest cash, and you have to invest decent cash. Yes, you can always start a business on a shoestring and you can bootstrap it. But in reality, if you're constantly pushing and have poverty consciousness around the way you do business, guess what you're going to get in return? If you're not prepared to pay for me or for Martha's time or anybody else's, you have to have a good hard look at whether or not you're really in this business for the long term, or whether you're in it because you think it will give you freedom to something, but you don't really want to commit to it because you're not prepared to really put everything on the line to get there, which often includes cold hard cash.
Yeah, I really hear you, because I think a lot of us only look at our situation when we're in a desperate mode.
Right.
So we go and actually grab on every opportunity that we can, and thinking that if I only do this, then I will get the same return. But a lot of people will not realize the full picture, the deeper story of it, which is, how much effort are you put in? How many hours can you actually put in? How much time can you put in? Okay, how much should you be charging for those time and hours that he's going to pay you for? Because everything is an exchange here. You put in that much, may not get you the same return, but ultimately it should be a bigger return to make it as a business. If not, it's a hobby or a charity.
Right.
It's
That's
not a
exactly
business.
Right. And 90% of them probably are charities, really, when you break them down, because they trade at a loss, whether they realize it or not. They're investing a lot of time and energy. They give a lot away for free. They don't have boundaries, and they don't communicate, and therefore they don't know their worth, and they don't honor their worth. And the outcomes are tears, stress, broken families, bankruptcy. You know, you're throwing your money. The one that kills me the most is people that spend, e-commerce businesses do it a lot. They have this great product. They'll drop $250,000. One client dropped $400K on all these products with no brand, no database, no client base, no research, no entity structures done correctly, didn't want to, or didn't have the money to pay for professional advice, professional accounting, and then was like, why is this not working? And I can't pay anybody and I'm going to have to go bankrupt. It happens all the time. I had someone come to me 2 weeks ago for it.
Oh,
if you want to develop an amazing e-commerce product, I'm not saying don't do it. What I'm saying is invest some money now to get the common basic knowledge that you need so that you can actually thrive. I want to see everyone be an absolute success. And success is not always about cash, but successful people aren't stressed. Based on my definition of success, that, right?
No, that is so cool. That is so cool. That's why I love talking to you and got you onto our show so quickly, because that your sharing is what a lot of business owners have to go in and actually think about. I know that there's a lot of dodgy salesperson out there. Yes, I've been trapped a few times as well. Yes, I have paid thousands of dollars to go into courses that actually doesn't align with me, where they promise the world and then they don't deliver. But do I blame them? Not really, because I think every single courses that you go to will give you something in return. But how is it what you need? That's a different story. That's the right question to ask. Is that what I need at that moment? And how do you know what you need? Go back to your business foundation. Go back to your background. If you don't have that, it's like what you said, 400,000 into buying product, don't have a brand, don't have an email list, don't have anything set up in the background and hoping that product will sell itself. It's not going to work.
No, look, even if you make it in the first round and you get your product in mainly from China and you get it here, then you sell it. What happens with your next round? How do you fund it? If you haven't done your books properly, you haven't costed your product, you haven't costed your wholesale distribution margin correctly, guess what? You've got no money to fund your next purchase. And because you didn't think this through, because you didn't also know how successful you were going to be, you didn't order your stock in time for the next delivery to take advantage of how successful you were. So now you've got another problem, which is the same as what most people have at the start, which is you've had an interested, engaged audience that you haven't maintained because you have had nothing to sell them. And you haven't kept them warm. And now you've got another delivery coming that you can't pay for because you've got no more product to sell them. But did you consider pre-sailing? Like, there's so many different things, and I'm not saying that like a course will work for everybody, but again, this is about tangible skills that you can apply to your own business to build your business confidence, to help you make better decisions, so that you use foresight and broad scanning and strategic planning skills to make decisions, rather than going, my gut says that this is the right decision. Learn why your gut says that and whether you can back it up with data. I am 100% for following your gut. But at the same time, let's be realistic. And how do you become successful? Because women are the ones that have 1 in 3 Australian women have no financial literacy. And how do we change that? We give them knowledge. We teach them what they need to know.
Yes, that is 100%. I love what you just shared in there. So please tell us a little bit more about your courses and things like that.
Yeah, so I have a new course that's only been out about a month. It's years and years of learnings and working one-to-ones with clients, whether they were small, tiny businesses or large businesses turning over millions. They all had the same problems. They lacked a strong foundation around their business. They lacked financial literacy. They didn't understand their financial statements. They didn't cash flow forecast. They struggled to effectively communicate. They didn't have the right systems and processes, the right entity types in a lot of scenarios. Most of them had poverty consciousness or FOFU, which is the fear of up. You know, like we actually have a podcast called Financial FOFU based on that reason that I started 4 years ago with my accountant. We wanted to dispel some of the myths around what you can and can't do in business. So my course has 8 modules with 2 tax modules coming in the next month or so. It starts with business basics. So some of the stuff we've just touched on, We move into systems and processes. Then we look at how to quote for profit and understanding your financial statements. We move into cash flow forecasting. Then we look at business relationships and how to build a business relationships. What is an elevator pitch? Why is that important? What are referral partners or affiliate marketing? And then we look at what is your business mindset? What emotional intelligence or EQ do you have for how you make your decisions, and how do you improve your business acumen so that you make better decisions and become a better business owner? Because it's called the Better Business Owner course. And then finally, the last module is about how do we bring all of those learnings together so that you can have a holistic and sustainable business that is also a saleable asset. We want you to be able to invest your time, your blood, your sweat, and your tears into something that actually is able to be sold at some point in time, which means it can't be based around you solely and your own personal name. You can't be the only person in the business that does everything, and you can't be irreplaceable, because if you want to take a holiday or your kid's sick and you need to take some time off, or you want to sell it, you can't. We want to make sure that your data and your systems and processes are set up so that, again, you can sell your asset. Like, we want to have the right entity type so that you can sell your asset. Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, why would you spend 3, 5, 10, 15 years building something that you're not able to sell?
That is so true. And you have been so kind to actually offer us a 5% discount on your courses as well, using the code YeTheGirl40+. So ladies, you are listening to this or you're watching our play over here, Sarah have got a wonderful thing to help you if you're ever thinking about building a business yourself, if you are ever interested into getting more income in, instead of just wasting money, complaining that things doesn't work and everything is a scam or sham. Think about what you know and increase your knowledge, because knowledge is your power to actually change everything. Sarah, what are some of, like, we have such a beautiful session today. Is there any other tips that you can give us before I end up?
What's the right way to move forward? Look, the last thing with the course is you can buy the modules individually. You do get a discount, a bigger discount, and then the 5% on top if you buy it as a bundle. If you're not in a position to do something like that at the moment, again, what we talked about earlier is going back to looking at, are you quoting for profit? Are you cash flow forecasting? Do you know where you want to be in 5 years' time? And thinking about how you can change up what you've got now so that you can achieve some of those outcomes. And sometimes it's really just learning what financial terms are so that you can read the financial statements from your accountant. That will actually change up everything. Like, what is a balance sheet? Why is it important? Those are the things that will really change up how you do business, and make a decision as to what you're here for. Like, why are you here for? Is it to earn money? Is it to leave a legacy? Is it to have lasting impact? Is it to provide for your family and have the flexibility? All of those things are perfectly reasonable reasons, and they could all apply for running a business. But if you don't know exactly why you're here, it's very hard to do anything that's going to work as an outcome for you.
Oh, I hear you, because so many people go into a stage of frustration when something doesn't work. And instead of working on why is it not working, they keep finding what we call the quick fix to actually fix the outside, put a band-aid on it and make sure that it looks good, instead of looking at the real reason why their business failed. Like you said, building a building, you are using tofu to build your foundation. Of course it will crumble. Of course it can take pressure. That's the reason why you do need to build it with concrete and steel and all the structure, so it actually can build the house a bit firmer before business can grow. That is the essence of this. Sarah, it was just such an amazing chat with you. I would love to invite you to come back to our Knowledge is Power session and do a full workshop with us, because I think that will be a really great value for all our members here.
Fabulous. Anytime. I've enjoyed chatting with you today, Martha. Absolutely. And lastly, accountability. Self-accountability is the hardest thing that you can do. And when we're employed by other people, we get it from our managers and our co-workers, and we don't get it. It's the freedom and flexibility that comes from being self-employed. But the shadow side of that is, oh crap, no one's going to tell me what the deadline is. I have to create the deadlines myself. So I would love to come back and chat with you guys again. I think you've got a fabulous community that you've been building, and I would love to see the outcomes, the valuable outcomes that members of the group have from the learnings that I'm able to provide.
That will be amazing. Like, we really appreciate all that you have given to us. Thank you once again for all our listeners and all our audience who have watched today's episode on Business Monday. I have certainly learned so much about business and so much understanding in how to create a successful and profitable outcome for whatever you're doing. If you are doing a business, make sure it is a business, not a hobby, not a charity, because we can set something else for that differently. And once again, thank you for listening, and I will see you again next Monday. Bye.
See you later.